Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. The most anticipated Broadway revival this fall is Stephen Sondheim and George Furth's musical Merrily We Roll Along. Following a critically acclaimed sold-out run last fall at New York Theatre Workshop, it will open here at the Hudson Theatre on October 10th with a stellar cast, including Daniel Radcliffe, Jonathan Groff, Lindsay Mendez, and my guest, Krystal Joy Brown. I am thrilled to be sitting with you here at the Hudson in the Ambassador Lounge, right?
It's the most gorgeous lounge in all of Broadway by far.
Yeah. Now, were you in tech?
Yes, I'm in tech, and that means we're doing 10 hours a day. Our crew is doing way more than that, like 12, I think sometimes 14 hours. And we are doing every little technical piece of this show, which I like to call this show a big little show. Everyone thinks it's small and intimate, but it is so many things. We have so many props, so many costumes. The show runs 20 years, so we have to have a bunch of different wigs, and everybody has to change. So it's a lot of technical stuff, and everyone's working extremely hard right now.
Yeah, you're about to return to Broadway in Merrily We Roll Along here. How excited are you?
I'm so excited. I love this cast and crew so much, and the story of these friends and of New York and being an artist is so compelling to me. I mean, it's my life as well. Like playing Gussie Carnegie, she's someone who is a Broadway star and has had to really work and fight for what she has, and I just resonate with her, and I resonate with every single one of the characters. It's very easy to. So it's surreal to be back and back like this and with these incredible people, but I am so ready to be here.
Yeah. Well, take me back to the beginning. When were you first aware of this musical?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I was in college, Not a Day Goes By is just an epic song that everybody loves. And so I would hear it all the time, but I never sang it, and I didn't really know the show. And so one time I'm seeing like something, maybe it was BroadwayWorld posting saying like Daniel Radcliffe is going to be in Merrily We Roll Along, and I was like, I was in Hamilton and I love playing Eliza, and I was like, I told my agents, I said, something like this. I was like, I don't know the show, but I sent it. I screenshotted it and I sent it. I was like, something along these lines is like what I want to be in, like to that caliber. And then months later, I get the audition, and I'm filming though in South Carolina, and so I send a self-tape. And self-tapes for musical theater are hard. They're just, it's hard when the live theater is so tactile. You have to kind of be there. You got to feel the energy. You have to feel like the presence of people. And so I sent a tape. They liked it. Then I sent another tape, and they liked it as well. But the main thing for me was when I read the script and I read the sides, it was incredible. The writing was incredible. It was complex. It's a really complex storytelling and character development for a musical. And it's like, we go in so deep and we get in deep, and I was just like, whoa, this person I get, So then because I wasn't able to be there, I didn't book it. And I was like, all right, I get it, fine, And then that was in May of last year. And then in September, I get a call back, and I was just like, man, whoever they hired must have been great, because I felt like I killed it. And I was like, this just feels so destined. Like it was just something that felt so destined. When I read the script, and I just cried so many times, and I was like, I feel so connected to this story. And then I got a call in September, and they were like, can you come in again? And I was like, well, I'm physically here. I can come in. And I came in, and it was the first audition where I walked out, and the casting director, Jim Carnahan, was like, unless I'm crazy, you booked it. And I was just like, oh my God, okay. And then a month later, I started this journey off Broadway, and learning about it, the history of it in depth, already having like my own personal relationship with it on my own as I'm trying to like prepare for this audition. Yeah. And my audition was an hour with Jonathan Groff, by the way. It was an hour long with Maria and Jonathan Groff and some of the producers, and they really wanted to see,
chemistry.
Chemistry. Like, could we build? Could we play? And there was so much laughing. There was crying in that audition room, and so it just felt like so right. And I just walked out. I was like, I want to be there. I want to be where those people are, like 100%. And so after that moment, I was just like, And I walked into the space and I was like, this is it. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So it all felt very aligned and connected.
Okay, take me back to the call when they actually told you, you're going to play her. You've got it.
Oh my gosh. Crazy enough, I was working on this amazing show that's coming to Broadway, A Wonderful World, and with my good friend, James Monroe Eaglehart, and I looked down at my phone as we're in like a reading for this, and I looked down at my phone and I go, and it's like my manager's like, I know you're in rehearsal, but we need to talk to you about Merrily. We have great news. And I was like, and I just like stood up. I was like, you guys, I'm sorry. I have to go outside in the hall for a second. And then I'm just going out in the hall. And I was just like jumping and crying. And like, and then of course, you have like so much happiness. And then you have this moment of like, oh no, I have to leave my current job. And like, so that was sticky, but like Lynn and everybody who has been so supportive of this move, from Hamilton to Merrily. But yeah, I was ecstatic. I was like, you just don't know whatever's next when you're an actor. You never know. Like, you always think the job you're in is the last job you'll ever get. Yeah. I don't know why we feel that way, but it is, always the feeling. And so when something else comes, you're always like, whoa, I get to expand. And being able to do this is like a gift and a half. Yeah. Like being able to have a career in this industry, to be able to live in New York, to be able to work with these people is like an everyday gratitude gift. So it's just kind of like mind-boggling. So when I got the role, I was like, okay, there's more. Jeez, okay. And then I'm like, okay, now I gotta step it up because these are some of the best actors that I've ever experienced.
Okay, well, let's go back down to downtown. I mean, that was so magical to see as an audience member.
Yeah.
How magical was it for you to do it down there and to work with this incredible company there first? What are some of your favorite memories of doing the show downtown?
New York Theater Workshop is one of the most like special places in my heart because that's where Rent was created, really. And Rent is the musical that got me into musical theater. Yeah. So I was just like, this is hallowed ground. This is sacred territory. And then the space is so tiny, like no shade, New York Theater Workshop. You're small and you know it. It's off Broadway. And it takes out, you can't have any ego. You can't have any, shyness because, we just got to get the show going. And it just kind of makes you, it like throws you into this kind of tight womb. Yeah. That sounds kind of crazy, but like it does. It puts you in this like really intense,
this
tight
nucleus
space.
In this family.
Yeah. And so you feel very cozy. You feel very safe to explore, to dig because there's not like a lot of space. We have to be kind of so close to each other, and I think it was the perfect place to start building these bonds and to start connecting on this level. And every single character, and as you watch the show, every single person on that stage has a story that we've all talked about, a through line. Rue has his story, and Meg has her story, and the newscasters, like every single person has a reason why they're intertwining with Frank's life and how they all met and how this all happened. So there's so much going on, and it was such a great place to like build that foundation. My favorite moments, honestly, were playing Bananagrams with like Dan and Leanna and all these people just in between shows and just how tiny it was, how much we just got to like kind of scoot around each other and climb all over each other, and we were all just so passionately there to get the job done. And it was devoid of any ego and purely about the fact that we love theater and love what we do and love that we get to do it.
All right, that goes back to your director, who is one of the greatest directors of all time, Maria Friedman. Yeah. What is it like being in the room with her and like takeaways from that?
Oh gosh, working with Maria has been such an experience for me. She really knows how to get to the heart of you, and she knows how to go deeper. And like, she'll get you to one level and she'll be like, okay, we're there. Now we gotta go deeper. Now we got to go deeper. And sometimes that's taking things away. Sometimes that's adding things. And she's always looking to connect the story and making it real, because it's like some parts of this are musical comedy. Some parts of this are extreme like drama. So finding that tone is really hard, and finding that balance is hard. And so she wants to make sure that everyone feels like a real human and that everyone has multi-dimensions. And that's been her goal. I think you walk in with Maria and you just start crying. you know, there's just something like tender, and you're just like, let me tell you my problems. And so it's very, it's been a very intimate relationship with a director as far as like what we're putting into this, because the show is intimate. The director has to be intimately involved, and she is very detail oriented when it's coming to the story, and I mean everything else. But yeah, she's very special, and I think it's been a very unique opportunity to work with her.
Well, now let's talk about Broadway, because I've seen pictures of like those first days of rehearsal again, when you all got back together again, because you've been separated, but I know you all stayed in contact.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Bananagrams.
Yes, bananagram. Well, funny enough, I was doing something in Vancouver, and at the same time that Jonathan was as well, we ended up staying in the same hotel, which means we were out at the clubs together for the brief time that we had time, and then. Just keeping in touch with everybody, like texting, seeing how people are. You know, Dan had a baby, so begging for baby pictures and like just being like, "How are you guys surviving?" Is always essential. And you know, just seeing how everybody's doing, like knowing that we're all going to come back, knowing that this entire cast was invited back, was like just so warming for us to all feel safe. Be like, have a great summer and come back and like be rejuvenated and ready to like mature this piece, make this piece even bigger.
I love that word, mature this piece, because you come back
We're
and
different.
it's like shining the diamond, and it's also, you know, a half a year later.
Yeah, it is. And a lot has happened, and you get to sit and think about it. Like, I think if I go back to Hamilton, or if I went back to Motown or something, it would be different because I'm different. And so those differences, those things that have changed in us, are going to be reflected in how we portray these characters. And I definitely have seen those changes in myself and in other cast members, and how we're approaching our characters, for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, just sharing the stage with this group. I mean, everybody, but I mean, Daniel, Jonathan, Lindsay, Reg, Katie, everybody. I mean, just what that's like.
It's like, the first word that came to me was home.
Yeah.
Because there's so much just comfort with them, and everyone wants you to do your best. Everyone is really looking at you, really pulling you in, really hoping for the best. Like, if you've had a bad day, I will get a text from Lindsay or Dan or Jonathan or any of them, and just being like, hey, you did great, or hey, like, keep it up. So it's really motivating. I think they're amazing, and they elevate the piece, but they also elevate everyone around them. And so they're really, really genuine, and really, I don't know, really the glue and the bond that keeps us like constantly going further and further, and playing. And it's never like, well, can you not do this so that I can do this? It's always like, yeah, try it. Like, let's do it. Let's try it. And I'm like, that's the energy I love. I am a yes and kind of person. And so having that, pretty much everybody be that way. And I think, once again, that comes back to the director and casting, and like creating a team of people that all energetically flowed well. And I understand now, Maria, why you couldn't hire me on tape. But that's all right. You loved my energy, and it all worked out. So
no, but I love that, because I talk to all these stars, like, oh my God, I have to send these self-tapes in. And then you're like, do I do it 16 times? Do I do it, like, how many times?
Only 16?
No, well, okay. But I mean, do you second guess yourself all the time, or you just say, like, the final tape you sent in?
Yeah.
Were you like, how many takes was it?
Oh gosh. It was enough takes for my reader to be like, you know what, I think it's been 3 hours, and I think I need to go. And I was like, you know what? Fair. I'm going to choose one of these. And we're
you
gonna,
did.
Yes, and I was just like, yeah, but you feel that one.
Yeah.
You typically feel the one where you're like, I mean, it's always a gamble. You know, you're just kind of sending these things out into the ether, and you're like, I hope someone watches it. You know, and so yes, it does take me a long time, and you are looking back, and you're like, oh God, what is that one hair is just, what is it doing? And you do criticize yourself so much more, I think. But it's also kind of nice to have a little bit of control, to be like, I know exactly the product that I'm presenting to people. But it can make a neurotic actor a little bit more neurotic.
I'm glad you just sent it in. Now you're cast.
Yeah.
This is such an iconic score. I love it. Okay, so I saw this musical, the original production.
Oh my gosh.
I saw it twice at the Alvin.
Okay.
Which is the Alvin Neil Simon. I mean, this is such a beautiful score.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a favorite that someone else does in the show that you don't do?
Oh my God.
Yeah. What are
Yes,
some of your favorites in the show?
so many.
Yeah. Besides everything.
I mean, okay, Now You Know is just, it just sticks in my head
Yeah.
like glue. Like that is like, it just repeats itself. That song, gosh, what else do I love? I love Not a Day Goes By because it's just heartbreaking. And we've all experienced heartbreak. And I think like, and we know what it's like when you're going through that. Like that person's constantly in your head and just constantly in your heart.
Yeah.
And you know you can't make that work. And honestly, I really like the transitions. I don't know. I love listening to everybody. We had our sit spread the other day, and I was just like, God, everything sounds so good. And all the blob stuff.
Yeah.
All of it. All of it. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's funny. It's fun. It like makes you think of New York in that quintessential New York elitist artiste way.
Yeah. I love this musical, like I told you. Why do you think over the years this has become such a beloved musical?
Oh, it's like a cult classic.
Yeah.
You know, like when people are like, oh, when that came out, but like people started taking a deeper look. And I think since Sondheim and George Firth constantly were reinvigorating this and constantly like putting so much effort into like making it better. And this was like, it was also what is to be said, the most intimate show that Sondheim had ever written, kind of like autobiographic or biographical.
Yeah.
Whatever, which one?
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Bio is a really good word.
Yes, so it's something that was really close and near and dear to his heart.
Yeah.
And so I think that because it is about our hopes and dreams, it is about our how we grow and where we start from and where we go and the people we lose along the way and the choices we make, like everybody can identify with that.
Yeah.
And I think but what they've said is that at Sondheim's home, at every party, the piano would come out and everyone would do Merrily from top to bottom and sing it. And I think that energy kind of started to really make it be like, this needs to come back. This needs to come back. So it was always in the zeitgeist. And now, like after he's passed, and Maria was given, soul ability to do this. It has a new special meaning and a new special like blessing to do it in this way.
Yeah. You have this incredible career on stage, screen, and TV. And I want to go back to the beginning. Was there a defining moment for you when you said, I want to be a performer and try to make a living at this?
Oh gosh, I was probably like 4. I knew really early. As soon as I realized that people, like when I was watching The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, I was like, when I found out there were people behind those voices, like behind those images, those cartoons, I was like, there are actually people that do this. And I was like, and that means that they make a living, doing this. I'm from Virginia, so it wasn't something that seemed like it was at all in the reality of what I could do. But luckily my family was like, go into the arts. I did ballet and gymnastics really early on. And I was just, they were sure I was going to become a lawyer, but I was sure I was going to become an actor / president. Just like
You could play a lawyer.
or a president.
Yeah, totally.
Come on, I could be a president.
That's next.
Yeah. And so I think I kind of knew really early on, but I think when I started to actually see live theater, my first time coming to New York, I was 13 or 14. I saw Chicago and Rent, and I was just blown away.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, they live in New York. They're doing this thing, and it's just incredible. And that's when I really knew. And I will also add, I was a big Rent head. I saw, one of the Mimis at the National Theater, and she, I was waiting to get my program signed, and she took me by the chin and she said, you can be anything you want to be. And she was the Mimi, and Mimi was my first role in the national tour. And so that was like, once again, like another blessing and another I was like, okay, she said I could do it. And sometimes you really do just need someone that looks you in the eyes and says, you can do it.
And you did it.
I'm doing it.
Okay, you've also played some incredible roles on stage. Diana Ross in Motown.
Who just sang for Beyonce, our queen.
Did you love playing her?
Oh God, I loved playing. I mean, first of all, I had 20 costumes in that show, 12 wigs. Diana is a monster of a role
Yeah.
because she's constantly moving and constantly singing and constantly changing her look. But learning about her was my favorite thing. Actually reading her autobiography
Yes.
and learning about her and watching videos of her and interviews, I was just like, wow, like how to balance it. People are always like, how do you have it all? You know, and it's like, you can and you can't.
Yeah.
And watching her be able to balance so much and like her dreams and being like this really dedicated performer, as much as it was great for the role, it was just great for me as Krystal just to read and learn about someone who is still killing the game, who is still doing it. And I hope that when I get to her age that I get the opportunity to be, you know, on stage in a Bob Mackie-esque dress, you know, gown and killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Eliza Hamilton.
Yeah.
In Lin-Manuel's masterpiece Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've spoken to so many people who have been in Hamilton,
Mm-hmm.
and we started to talk about the White Room. It always comes up, the White Room.
Yeah.
Now, for people who don't know what the White Room is, if you go up on dialogue or lyrics, you go to the White Room. Now,
yeah.
Hamilton never stops.
Yeah, no.
It's that turntable, and it's like you go and you go and you go.
And you can become musical theater roadkill,
Okay.
is what I call it. It's gonna keep going, and you gotta figure out how to
Did that ever happen to you while you were in Hamilton?
Oh, absolutely, it happened to me.
Yes.
But I did not. Okay, like James would be like, "Yibba dibba 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 France." Okay, like I never did that. Okay, I would be like, I would just flip verses or choruses, and so I'd be
So
like,
you kept going.
Oh, I kept going. That's my one good thing is that people will be like, "Did they change the words?" Like, and I'll be like, they tried it out, but they said, go back to the original. And I will like flip things and I'm like, how do I do that riff now that is not what is in the music at all? I've done that a couple of times and people will be like, you know, the cast is the worst. You know, you look around and they're just like, they're crying and they're just not helpful at all because they're like, we know
It's your turn. You just did it.
Yeah, they're like, So it's definitely happened. And it's really hard when you mess up lyrics that are that perfect because you feel really bad.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, such good words. And I just said them wrong. But everybody on planet Earth pretty much knows them.
Yeah.
So you can't get away with too much. But
And the fans who come to the show over and over love that when someone goes up.
yeah, they love anything that's different.
And then I think your picture goes up backstage when you go to the White Room, doesn't it?
Oh,
Do they do that?
we don't do that anymore, but
There's-
I have heard
there's
about
no
this.
space.
Yes, no.
'Cause everyone's
All
done
the
it.
wall space is taken
It's
up in
taken.
Hamilton. There's signatures and there's like just everything everywhere. Speaking of wall space,
Yes.
I want to tell you about
Yes.
what I gave Jonathan
Yeah.
for his homecoming present, and I got him a poster of Beyonce Renaissance World Tour because we both
Yes.
went to Beyonce. He went 4 times, I went 2 times. And we both have, like, it's one thing that Jonathan and I really, really connect on is Beyonce. And so I got him that, and I wrote, like, welcome to your homecoming. This is your Renaissance.
Fabulous.
And so that's his first piece of art
Art?
on the walls. Yeah.
Have you designed your dressing room yet here?
So I when I was creating this character, because Gussied is an amalgamation of so many people. I think Diane Carroll, Eartha Kitt, Diana Ross, a little bit of Marilyn, a little bit of Lucille Ball. I'm making these pictures that will go all over the wall of those iconic
The
images
icons.
of these women who I've been kind of pulling from to create this character.
Nice.
Yes, very like, you know, from the 50s through the 70s, as we do.
Okay, because we have a new series at BroadwayWorld called Broadway Cribs.
Oh.
And a lot of people are doing it. So I hope that when you do your dressing
Well, okay,
room, we
then
can
now
come
I-
back here and you will
I gotta
take
really
us
step it
through.
up.
Oh, it's going to be just the icons you're putting in there.
Yeah.
I know you have to go, you know, it's almost tech time. But I want to, you know, we fell in love with this show downtown. I was very honored to have been able to see this at New York Theater Workshop. And now a whole other amount of people are going to be able to see this here on Broadway if they can peg, borrow, or steal a seat to this show.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, what that means to you for people to be able to see this show and what's made this so special for you with
man.
being a part of Merrily.
Oh my gosh. Well, one of the things is like I'm the first ever Black Gussie, ever in any production that has happened in, you know, any major telling. So that is a huge responsibility and a huge opportunity. I always, with everything I do, I want to bring more people of color to the theater and also for them to see themselves and to feel like this is a space for all of us, because I think that's what Rent did for me. It opened up the ability to see, okay, like there is space for me, and that means so, so much to me. We are going to have lotteries, so there are going to be ways for you to come see the show that don't cost an arm and a leg or Beyonce ticket price. But it's important to me at this moment, especially, to be representation and to be also like a beacon of light of being like, look, these traditionally non-ethnic roles are open, and people are people, and we're going through the same kind of things, and we're going through the same human emotions on different scales at different times. But my goal and job is to bring humanity to any role and have all types of audiences see that humanity, and also then invite more people in. So that's always my goal: invite more people in and let them see humanity on all kinds of skin tones.
Yeah. Your first performance is right around the corner here on Broadway.
Ooh, like days away, like 2 days away.
How incredible is that going to be for all of you?
Oh my gosh, I'm excited that it's an invited dress, because it'll be very loving and they will be very forgiving for anything that doesn't go exactly right.
It's going to go perfect.
Of course, it's Broadway. It's going to be amazing, because I think we're just so ready to get out there and do it again. And it's going to be emotional. And Jonathan cries a lot.
Yeah.
He is the most fluid person. He has more fluids in his body than anyone.
Yeah.
And so he will cry at the downbeat. And just, it will be a fluid type of show. But it's going to be emotional for all of us, because it's been a journey. It's been now a year that we've all been kind of sitting in this and growing in this, and we've been through so much together. And it'll be the culmination of something that we've built that's really, really special to all of us.
Yeah. I cannot wait. We will be there every step of the way. It's so great to catch up with you.
You too. It's always amazing to see you in the Broadway world and see you walking down the street, because I see you all over my neighborhood. So, yeah.
Have the best time. We'll see you opening night.
Thank you guys. Come to the theater.